everybody, and welcome back to the United Stand. It is the 8 p.m. show, and whatever you're doing, get a cup of tea, sit back and strap yourselves in. I am not prepared to talk about what I've got to talk about tonight because it is depressing as a Manchester United fan being linked to Calvert-Lewin and Jamie Vardy as your striker options in the summer. I mean, we knew we're struggling financially, but we must be broke. We must be super broke if we are exploring to go and get Jamie Vardy or Calvert-Lewin in the summer as a striker for Manchester United. I mean, this afternoon, Goldbridge comes on the show and tells us Gyökeres to Manchester United is off in the summer. I have my thoughts on that as well. But now we're getting linked to alternatives like Jamie Vardy and Calvert-Lewin. We're Manchester United. We're acting like a championship club. Like, genuinely, I am worried about the future of this football club because the cost-cutting measures left, right and centre. I mean, you talk about the staff redundancies, you talk about the cutbacks that Ineos are making, and granted, I get that they have to make these cutbacks because of the financial situation that we're in. But I just keep thinking back to, wow, if the debt was cleared, wow, if we had, money properly invested into this football club. Where could we be? Because now it just feels like we're going down and down and down and down and down. And I mean, this is Manchester United that we're talking about right now. We should be going and attracting the best players. We should be going in and getting the hottest prospects on the markets, but we're nowhere near it. We're absolutely nowhere near it. And it is super worrying because what direction are we going in? And how do we get back to where we once were? How do we begin to compete? I mean, I'm talking about just getting back into the Champions League places. You're never going to do that with not investing the money into the right places. Never mind competing for the title. Ruben Amorim would have to be a miracle worker at this rate, and his summer transfer plans genuinely might be in jeopardy if Manchester United do not get some sort of European football. Champions League winning the Europa League is absolutely huge. I mean, the Europa League through the FA Cup is huge, but that Champions League football is going to be massive because Ruben Amorim's summer transfer plans might be put on the back burner, and he might have to deal with, you're not even talking about third and fourth choices here, you're talking about getting to the bottom of the barrel, because that is what is coming out from The Athletic and Laurie Whitwell, who has obviously put out a really interesting article that I really want to sink my teeth into and discuss with you guys, so get your comments in. There is a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel because we have been linked to Mbeumo from Brentford. Manchester United thoroughly scouting him. Will we actually be able to do that deal as Brentford look for a record transfer fee for their club to sell Mbeumo? Would you go for him? Do you think he's the right option? And some more news about Lisandro Martinez injury. And I've just got a little bit I want to touch on in terms of Delap as well. He was in the article that Laurie Whitwell put out, whether he is ready now to become the striker at Manchester United. Another cut price deal because Ipswich probably will get relegated, so he'll be available on the cheap. Sesko as well. And I've got an alternative striker that I want to put to you guys who I would go for if I was in charge, basically, which I'm not. But there is someone out there who I think fits the bill of what Manchester United need, fits the model of being that young player coming in, even though we do need experience, and maybe wouldn't be too expensive. So I'll talk about him in a little bit as well. Get your super chats in, get anything that you want to be read out into the chat, and let's get on with the show. But there is a lot to discuss. I mean, first and foremost, I've got to be honest, I really keep trying to be positive about Manchester United, but the news comes out each day and it drains and drains and drains me. It really does. And this nearly sent me over the edge this afternoon. I've had a little bit of time to calm down, but I'm going to read it out and I'm going to get your thoughts on it. So it is coming from Laurie Whitwell at The Athletic that given Manchester United's financial position, there might be a temptation to look at the free agency market with Calvert-Lewin and Jamie Vardy both out of contract in the summer. That, though, would go against the plan for youth. First and foremost, Jamie Vardy is 38 years of age. 38 years of age. I mean, we're not going spending on money on Gyökeres this afternoon because 27's too old. But now 38-year-old Jamie Vardy's all right because he'll be on a free transfer. Absolutely not. I respect Jamie Vardy. He'd probably do a better job than the current options we've got right now. He is a Premier League great. He's had a fantastic career. But at 38 years of age, is that our striker solution? Absolutely not. It shouldn't even be written in an article. It shouldn't even be entertained. The fact that's even entertained is crazy. And Laurie Whitwell is a good journalist. The Athletic is a good source. So that's worrying. And then Calvert-Lewin, don't even get me started on that. I mean, have we not got enough people in the injury room? Do we not have enough injuries at the club? Like, he's massively injury prone. And not only is he massively injury prone, he's average. He's not at the level that we need as a Manchester United starting striker. He's an average striker. He's an average Premier League striker. He's an Everton striker. Like, it's not Manchester United. And we've been linked to Calvert-Lewin for quite a number of years now. So that also worries me. You've got Jamie Vardy, who's 38, who's turning up to retirement home FC, Manchester United, being linked to us. And then you've got Calvert-Lewin, who is just going to be another player in the medical room. Like, it's just not the level that Manchester United should be going for. I mean, a week ago, we were talking about Gyökeres, Osimhen. Now we're talking about Jamie Vardy and Calvert-Lewin, and it does worry me. There is the flip side of things where Liam Delap is a name that does excite me. There is other options out there. It's not as if it's just Gyökeres or nothing. But today has been a real eye-opener for me because Ruben Amorim, what's the priority position that he needs? It's a striker. What is the priority position that a lot of us feel like Manchester United need? It might not be everyone's number one, but I think universally we can all agree that we need a striker. We thought Gyökeres was a huge option for Manchester United. Knows Amorim, knows the system inside out. 27, going into his prime, the exact player that Ruben Amorim can get the best out of. He knows his character, he knows his mentality, he knows his behaviours, he knows the system. He is someone that's going to come in and score goals. He's out of the equation. The report also then says that £58 million is too much for a player of his age. That rules Osimhen out as well in the summer, which I don't agree with that at all. I'll get into that in a second as well. So then you're scrambling around and you're thinking, realistically, what decent striker are you getting for below £60 million in the summer? And we do need some sort of experience. We can't just be, youth centre FC. We've got to have some sort of experience in the team if you're wanting to go out there and have players ready for the now. So there's a lot of things to juggle. There's a lot of things to balance. But the main thing coming out of this afternoon's news from me and from that article that really does worry me is we might not be going to get a certified striker in this summer, when we all thought it was basically nailed on that we would have somebody in who, they come through the front door, they are going to be the guy. Gyökeres, if we bought him, he was going to be the guy. Osimhen either, he's going to be the guy, he's ready now. Anybody else that we're kind of looking at, or has been, Calvert-Lewin and Jamie Vardy are just scary names to be linked to. We'll get into Liam Delap in a second, but suddenly the striker that Ruben Amorim's going to have, again, you go in another summer transfer window where you're like, let's hope they can do it. Let's hope they're up to it. Potential FC, we need players that are ready and are going to perform. And I get it's harder to attract players when you're 13th in the Premier League and European football is hanging on to cup competitions and it's hanging on by a thread. We may or may not get it. It's not guaranteed. But the name of Manchester United still holds weight. There is players out there that you can go and get. Do we have the financial capability to go and do it? Have we got the right transfer strategy in place? They're all questions that you need to answer. You've got some chats coming in and I've got loads of things I want to say, but I just want to make sure I do it in a way that it makes sense and I'm clear on everything. The Beast says, remember we signed Igalo Cavani and wanted Arnautovic. This feels like we're signing players for numbers rather than quality. At this rate, won't be surprised if we sign Ashley Young for right back. It's like Ricky's in charge of the recruitment. Keel Robinson says Cliver, and Keel Robinson says, could Ineos not loan players from Nice or FC Lau? We're not going to loan players from Nice, and Cliver is a very good player at Bournemouth, a very interesting talent, someone to watch, but he's someone that's not been necessarily completely linked to Manchester United. I do think we need to shop more in the Premier League, so that is something to think about. But getting back onto the striker situation. So, Mark obviously spoke on the afternoon show. I won't go into too much detail about it, but I will give my thoughts that Gyökeres is off the table for Manchester United. So it is unlikely that a move for Gyökeres happens in the summer. He wants to join a Champions League club, and United are reluctant to spend so much on a player turning 27 in June. So these are my thoughts on it. I know Mark's covered the news, but I want to get my thoughts in before I go into the other striker options. First of all, it is really concerning me that we're only going for younger players. Building a future is super important. I get that. You need to have prospects in, you need to have players in with potential, and you need to have a future in your football club. But we need players that are ready to make an immediate impact now. Our starting 11 is not good enough now. We need players that are ready to go and compete at the top level now. So that's worrying that, 27 is not old. 27 is going into your prime, but we can't justify spending £58 million on a player that is ready-made for AMORIM'S system and is the priority position. It doesn't make sense. I don't get the logic behind it. I can't understand the logic. That's what I don't get, because it's suggesting that Ineos think 27 is old. But that is like the perfect age that we need. We've got 2 younger strikers. Rasmus is 22. I think Joshua Zirkzee is 23. You need someone with that experience, with that ilk, that is ready. So I don't understand it. And then you talk about the price. £60 million for an elite striker is very, very good in today's market. If you look at the market for strikers at the top level, £60 million is a fantastic deal. So is the money not there? Are Manchester United saving face because Gyökeres actually doesn't want to come to the club? I don't know what it is, but it worries me, and it feels like we're going down the route of, we don't have much money. We are going to invest in young talent, pray and hope that one of them explodes, sell them for profit, and that's how we're going to kind of make our money. It feels like we're turning into a club that's like, just buy these young players, and then we've bought them in for a cheap price. Let's see how they develop, and we can then, when they hit the ground running, we can just sell them for profit. And you turn into that kind of club where it's like, I don't want to be that kind of club. Of course I want to be going for young talent, but when they progress and they explode, like, we want to nurture them, keep them in the team. That's how I want to be. But you need to have a mix. You need to have a mix of young players, and you also need to have a mix of experience. You need players in that dressing room that have been around the block. You need players in that dressing room that know how to handle being at a club like Manchester United, know how to handle the pressure. You need players that have experience in the game. You need a mix. And it feels like you're two extremes here. It's either, yes, we want to go for young players, and that's the route we want to go down, which is why we're not going for Gyökeres at 27, which isn't even old. Like, it's literally prime. Or we're going to go for Jamie Vardy at 38 just because he's on the cheap and abandon our principles. It doesn't make sense. What direction are you pulling in? What direction do you actually want to go down? And if you do want to go on a certain direction, at least stick to it. And that's what's the worrying thing for me about Manchester United right now, is what is our actual direction? Are we trying to do just what Chelsea did? Go and buy a load of young players and maybe sell them on, but doing it on a cheaper scale? I don't know what our plan is, but it's confusing me, and it doesn't feel like a club that... It doesn't feel like at the moment we're moving like a club that is aiming to win the title in 2028, which is what we got told last week. It doesn't feel that way in terms of our recruitment strategy, but we'll just have to wait and see, I suppose. I did say last week, I think it was, or even a couple of days ago, the week's emerging into one now, that I didn't think we'd get Kenda and Gyökeres. If you guys have been keeping up with my shows, I said there's no way we take Amorim, we take their goal scorer, Gyökeres, and their prospect, their young starlet, Kenda, all in the space of a year. It just wasn't going to happen. And I did say on the show the other day, I would rather go for Kenda just because of the knee position. But it is still frustrating me that we are going to miss out on a striker that's literally ready-made for us for £60 million. And I just feel like the excuses we're getting given are just, it doesn't make sense. And it's like, that doesn't make sense to a fan that has been following us, that's been following the transfer market and been following Manchester United and their scouting. It doesn't make sense, that them reasons that were put out there. Thomas McArdle says these owners have destroyed the club. I do just think back to I think back to it a lot, and I've thought about it a lot recently. What this club could have been if we could have just had the debt wiped and had money injected into the football club. What it could have been. The Glazers being out of the football club. It's not going to happen now, but it frustrates me that was literally on the table and we were this close to it and it didn't end up happening. And we've got to deal with what we've got. We still can progress. We still can get there, but it just feels like we are a money pit right now. And it's like we're just managing to keep our head above water. We're just managing to kind of keep our head above this quicksand that we keep sinking in. And if we would have actually had, a full takeover and massive amounts of investment, we would have been so much better off and we would have been so much closer to being competing at the top in a much quicker timescale. I mean, we owe over 300 million in transfers. That's a scary thought. We are being told that, you know, hundreds of staff are losing their job. Ticket prices are going up and up and up. And yet, I've got to pay more to go and watch Manchester United next season for a team that I've gone and paid to watch them this season. I know, you know, you follow your club no matter what. I get that. You follow your club no matter what. I will still go to Manchester United games if they're in the Championship. Don't want it to happen, but I still would. You know, they are my club. But Manchester United should be at the top of the football pyramid. They just should be. But you're telling me that I have to pay more for my tickets after I've watched us get back-to-back 8th and then 13th in the league. And to repay me for paying more for my ticket to go to Manchester United week in, week out, I've got to go and watch either Jamie Vardy or Calvert-Lewin up front for Manchester United. What are you trying to sell me here? Like, what are you actually trying to sell me? I feel like sometimes in football, and in life even, and don't get me wrong, I'm not an expert, I'm just a fan that's kind of getting my frustrations out. If you really want to repair something, you want to make it work and you want to fix something, you've got to throw everything but the kitchen sink at it. You really do. Like, I don't think, I know we have to because of the books and because of the accounts, and we are in serious financial trouble, and this club has been run into the ground for years upon years. We have made stupid transfer mistakes and we have made stupid financial decisions. But in order to actually, you know, get something back to the top, you've got to invest in it. You've got to give everything to it. You don't strip it back and cut it, because the more cuts that are being made and the more, you know, we are being cut off financially, the harder it's going to be to actually invest to get the talent in that we need to get back up to the top. It's a hard, long road ahead, is what I'm trying to say, and it's not looking very promising at this moment in time. J-Vic, and Amorim's got a huge job on his hands, a huge job. I mean, I'm so confused about going into this summer transfer window as it is. We keep getting linked to numerous players left, right and centre, but then we also keep getting told that we've got no money. It's going to be very interesting if we do really choose to exploit that free transfer market, like what's being said. Josiah says Hala, Madrid. J-Vic says Amorim said it best, Manchester United has lost a lot of history at the moment. That's all United is going to be at this historic club. Ineos out, Glazers out. Thank you everyone for your super chats. Get your comments in down below. Jonathan Anderson says Liam Delap is nothing we already have got. He's just going to be overhyped again. Michael says I'm sorry, but we don't have to. They should have been honest and never got involved with the Glazers. And that's the thing. To be fair, actually, you know, you are right in the sense of the fact that they don't have to, because they knew what they were getting themselves into, Ineos and Sergio Ratcliffe. And in a sense, you are right. Like, we keep getting fed the lines of, well, we've just got to do it. Like, if you look at the balance books, if you look at the accounts, if you look at the financial situation we're in, there's no way we can't make these decisions. There was a party there that literally was about to wipe the whole debt of this club. Like, that was an option. That was an option. So you do have to take that into account as well. It wasn't the only solution. It wasn't the only thing that was on the table. And the main thing for me is, the main thing is, we were close to the Glazers leaving, and that's now not happened, and it won't happen for a very, very long time. It now won't happen. So there's no point harping on about it. We've got to do the best of what we've got. But it's mad to look back and think this is how close we were, and it's just not ended up happening. And I did, I'm going to be honest, and I did expect more from Ineos. It's only been a year, but I did expect more. If anything, I feel like we've gone backwards, which is just mad to even think. But let's talk a little bit about transfers as well. And I've seen a couple of people talking about Liam Delap. So In this article that Larry Whitwell put out, he also said that Liam Delap is considered a more plausible target for the striker position for Manchester United. His price would also decrease if Ipswich Town got relegated. And it also was put in there that Benjamin Sesko has been continued to be followed since United had the opportunity to sign him a while ago. So Liam Delap and Benjamin Sesko are two younger strikers that we are also looking at bringing into the football club. Now, I've seen very mixed opinions on this. I've seen people say we don't need to go for another young player because we've already got that in Rasmus Højlund and Joshua Zirkzee. It's unfair to put more pressure on a young signing coming in. I've seen people say Liam Delap isn't better than what we've already got. I've seen people say Benjamin Sesko is the way forward. I've seen multiple different opinions fly around this afternoon and over the last few weeks about both of these players because they both are very plausible options for Manchester United. We've been linked to them both, and I've heard as well that Manchester United have scouted both of these players. I think about both of them differently. Maybe it's because I've probably watched more of Liam Delap than I have of Benjamin Sesko, but I have watched them both. I've watched Benjamin Sesko for club and country, and I've watched Liam Delap a bit at Ipswich this season as well, quite a bit to be honest with you. And the feedback I have on both, and this is my opinion, you're very entitled to disagree in the chat. I wrote it down actually on Delap, so I just don't want to get it wrong. What I was saying. Let me get it up. What I said about Delap. I'll start with Delap. So, Liam Delap, I would like him at Manchester United. He wouldn't be my top option because I agree with the majority of you guys. I think we need somebody with experience that is ready to go now, and I'm pretty much 100% on. If Gyökeres is off the table, my next best bet is Osimhen. He's ready. You know, he's got the physicality, he's got the pace, he knows where to be in the box, he knows how to finish. He is elite. And if you look at his output over the last, since he kind of broke through, even in his career, his output every season is second to none. He is consistent. He delivers year in, year out. Osimhen is the guy. I don't think we're going to go for him though because of the financial situation. If we're not going to spend 60 million on Gyökeres, we're definitely not going to spend 65 million on Osimhen. So if you look at other options, have I considered Delap over the course of this season? Yes. Do I think Delap is better than what we already have? Yes, I do. I think he's better than Højlund and I think he's better than Zirkzee. The question mark for me is I think we should be aiming way above that anyway. I think we need someone seriously elite. My only concern is he ready? Is he at the level that United needs now? He is only 21 years old, so still a very young player. It fits the Ineos model in that sense. You're going to get a lot of years out of him. But the reason why I think he is better than what we've already got is because he meets the physical demands of the Premier League. He's proven that for Ipswich already. I think he's technically good. I think he finds space in the box really well. And he's got a great return for a club that's facing relegation. Ipswich aren't creating many chances either. Just how a lot of people say Højlund doesn't get many chances, Zirkzee doesn't get many chances. Liam Delap, playing for Ipswich, doesn't receive much service either. They are at the bottom of the league. They are towards the bottom of the Premier League and they are going to go down. They are going to be relegated, but he still has a great return. And he just seems like a beast in the box. He's a bully in that box. He gets into the right spaces. He runs the channels really well. He does excite me. And I do think his movement and his hold-up play for his age in this league is better than what Zirkzee and Højlund are offering us as well. I think his first touch is a bit better than Højlund's from what I've seen. I think he is exciting. But is he ready to go and be a top 4 striker? Because that's what we need. That's what Manchester United should be aiming for. We should be aiming to have one of the top 4 strikers in the league. Is he ready to take on that at Manchester United? It's a question I ask for you. Why don't we run a poll on it? Is Liam Delap ready to be Manchester United's #1 striker? Then, while you vote on that, I'll say what I think about Benjamin Sesko. Benjamin Sesko is an exciting talent, super exciting talent. I don't think he is the guy for United right now. When Arsenal was actually linked to him, I was hoping they were going to pull the trigger and buy him in January. The reason I was hoping that is 1, it was less competition for Gyökeres when I thought we still had a chance at him. And 2, I actually don't think he is that good of an all-rounder. I think his finishing is top-notch. I think Benjamin Sesko is a great finisher. But I don't think he is elite in all the other aspects of his game? Like, is his movement where it needs to be? You know, is his link-up play great? From what I've seen, his link-up play isn't that good. But I know he can finish. And he physically is very advanced and he looks the part. And some of his finishes have been crazy good. But I don't think Benjamin Sesko is the answer right now. I still think he is a prospect. I think he's potential. And don't get me wrong, in, you know, a few years' time, I could be looking back at this and I could be saying, wow, Benjamin Sesko went on to really kill it. And he ended up being a fantastic player because he does have potential. But from what I've seen of him, I don't think he is the guy to come into Manchester United right now. But like I said, I'm obviously not watching him on a weekly basis. But when I've watched him for his club and country before, I've not been overly impressed with his all-round game. And at Manchester United, you know, I know if you give Højlund a chance, he'll finish it. Xerxes, not so sure. Xerxes got other attributes. I think Xerxes' hold-up play is better and he's more physical. But I know if you give Højlund a chance, he'll finish it. I know if you give Sesko a chance, he'll finish it. But Højlund's issue is getting in the right place at the right time. Lack of service. We do provide a lack of service for him. You know, having that anticipation in the box, having that intelligence to be in the right place at the right time. The hold-up play, the first touch. I don't think Benjamin Sesko is much of an improvement in a lot of them areas, but he is a top finisher. I think we need a striker that can do it all. We need someone who's going to physically bully centre-backs. We need someone whose hold-up play is going to be strong enough to play at this level. We need somebody who is a fox in the box. He's going to find that diving header. He's going to find them crosses when it comes in. Who's going to make space. Don't get me wrong, we do need to create more service as well. But I don't think Benjamin Sesko is that right now. I think in the future, one to watch. Right now, not ready. Liam Delap, this is just my opinion. Liam Delap, I think he's closer to being ready. I think his hold-up play is good. I think he's physically capable. I do think he can bully centre-backs in the box. Is he going to reach that next level, though? I don't know. It'd be a very big risk. I think it'd be a risk. Here we go. Mogwai in the chat. I've just seen your chat come in and this is exactly what I was going to move on to next. The striker that I said at the start of the show that we haven't been linked to, but we should be getting linked to, is Samu from Porto. Samu from Porto ticks every box, in my opinion, and I've been thinking about it a lot. When I went over to Porto with the United stand to report on our game, Erik ten Hag was still manager, I'm pretty sure. Was it a 2-2 draw at Porto? Samu stood out like a sore thumb, in a good way. He is physically fantastic. He's bully centre-backs. He scores goals. He's clinical. He runs the channels superbly well. He's extremely pacey. He's 20 years of age. Chelsea nearly signed him in the summer, but something broke down in terms of the medical, I'm pretty sure, or last minute with Samu. Porto signed him. And he has been fantastic for them and he would be fantastic for us based off what I've seen. Samu is an option. United haven't been linked to him, so I don't think that will really build up much steam. But if anyone from Manchester United is watching, Samu, 20 years old from Porto, is someone that I would be watching. I think he's got it all, to be honest with you. And he fits the age that Ineos are looking at. He's 20. He's 20, and if you just watched that Porto game and you watch Samu compared to our striker, the difference is night and day. He really does look promising and he's someone to watch. I don't know how much he would be, though, to be honest with you. He's 20 years old. He's got great physical attributes. You know, he runs the channels well. And when he was actually playing for Atletico, he had a top speed of 34.5 kilometres per hour, which makes him one of the fastest players in La Liga when he was at Atletico Madrid. So that is something to think about as well. You know, when you need that pace, when you need that power in the Premier League, he ticks them boxes. It's a name I wanted to bring in, and I'd have to do more scout work on it. I'd have to look into him a bit deeper. But just when I've watched him for Porto, I thought we could do with a bit of that. We genuinely could do with a bit of that. And he is someone that has gone under the radar a couple of times that I think Manchester United have failed to pick up on. But get the comments in down below. How much he would cost, I'm not too sure. I think Porto only got him in for around 15 million euros. I'm pretty sure that was the price tag. They'd probably want quite a bit more for him because he did sign a 5-year deal. But it'd be interesting to see how much Porto would actually want for him. And do they need to sell? Are they in a financial situation where they would be open to a decent offer from Manchester United? Definitely worth testing the waters. Got some more super chats in. Gary Inglesian says, I think the best option for Manchester United is Ollie Watkins. Right. The chats like this make me laugh because thank you for your contribution. I would love Ollie Watkins at Manchester United. He is definitely an improvement on what we have. But first of all, why would Villa sell him to us? Like, why? They've just sold John Duran for around £60 million, I think it was. They're not going to sell Ollie Watkins. And two, why on earth would Ollie Watkins want to come to Manchester United? Like, why? Villa are doing better than us. They're doing really well in the Champions League. Okay, they're not having the best league campaign, but they're a better team than Manchester United. Why would he want to come to us? And as a United fan, that's embarrassing to say. And I don't like it, but it's tough. I've seen people say, oh, we should go and get Isak from Newcastle. Yeah, and I want to get up in the morning and have a Porsche on my drive. Like, I would love to have Isak from Newcastle. For me, he's the best striker in the league. But it's never going to happen. And do you know what's mad to me? And this is how far Manchester United have fallen as well. And we continue to fall. Is I remember a few years ago when I was having a conversation with my dad and my brother. And they were saying, you know, would you take Watkins at United? And I was like, oh, do you know what? I think Watkins is a good player, but I don't think he's absolutely elite. Like, I don't think he's the Isak category. I don't think he's the Haaland category. I think he's a very good Premier League striker, but I don't think he's the elite. And I think Manchester United should aim for the elite. Now, I would absolutely snap your hand off at Ollie Watkins. He'd be fantastic at United. Like, I do think he's continued to progress and get better under Unai Emery. Like, Unai Emery has really transformed the player, and the player is grown and grown and grown. But I never thought Ollie Watkins was that elite level. I thought he was a very good player, but I thought Manchester United needed to aim a bit higher. Now, he's 10 times what we have. Like, he'd be fantastic, but I don't see a world in which Manchester United managed to get him in, to be honest with you. Rudolph the Red says, this club causes nothing but stress to its fan base. It's absolutely draining. River Manu says, Beth, the fact is we are not at the top and one player won't get us there. I would rather we get a very good cam, CDM, a right wing back and get a mid striker to support Xerxes for now and be a fill-in until Obi comes through. River Manu, thank you for your super chat, but I have to disagree. I think we're desperately crying out for a top striker. I think the spine of our team really needs to improve. Everywhere does, to be honest, because I think we massively need a right wing back. I think we massively need a left 10. I mean, I could go through the whole team. Goalkeeper, do we need an improvement on Andre Onana? Yes, I would say we do. You've got to work out what's a priority, but this is me just going through the starting 11 of where Manchester United need players. I do think we will need an improvement on Andre Onana. Centre-backs, De Ligt, Maguire and Yoro. De Ligt, Maguire and Mazraoui. I'm not including Lisandro Martinez because his injury concerns are very worrying. We could probably do with one more left-footed centre-back, but I don't think it's an absolute necessity, but we could do with another centre-back. I don't think it's top of the list. Wing-backs, Dorgu, we've just bought. Hopefully he's good enough. Right wing-back, I do think we need a right wing-back. I think that's absolutely crucial. The two midfielders, Ugate's nailed his place down. I think the other one is open to debate. So you'd say we probably need another midfielder. Is Kone going to come through the academy? Is there anyone there? Or do we need to go and invest in the transfer market? The number 10 spots, I don't think anyone's absolutely stamped their mark down as I am definitely solidifying this position. Left 10 is an absolute necessity. Mason Mount's never fit. And I don't think we've had anyone there that is really gone and grabbed that position and shown what they can do. I don't think we've got anyone good enough really to play that left-sided 10 right now. Bruno Fernandes is a tricky one for me because I think he's an incredibly talented player, but I just don't know what position suits him best in this system. The right side, Ahmad, you'd like to think is going to be that 10, but I think he's performed better at wing-back in this system. Maybe with a more attacking wing-back next to him, he can thrive in that right 10 spot, but 10s are definitely an area that we need to explore. Striker, absolutely need another striker. So you're looking at all over the pitch, United need improvement. So you are right in the fact that we need to invest everywhere, but you have to make some sort of priorities. And the most important thing for me is the last thing I want to do is go and, buy like 5 players on the cheap, but none of them are actually good enough for a starting spot for the long term and longevity. I would rather get 2 or 3 top quality players in and then wait for the next transfer window. That's what I would do. For example, if I was looking at Manchester United this summer, if you got me Cunha in from Wolves, 60 million. If you got me Kenda in from Sporting, it's going to be about 50 million. And then you go and spent 60 million on a striker. I thought it'd be a Yoker, as it looks like it's not going to be now on. Whatever striker we decide to do, and a good enough striker. Yes, I think we need a midfielder. Yes, I think we need a goalkeeper probably. Yes, I think we could do with another centre-back. But ultimately, I would so much rather get them 3 positions into an elite standard than get everywhere all at once and it not be good enough and cut corners. Because I think we've done that before and it's not worked. So that's what I would rather do. I would rather make sure you've got an elite striker, an elite left-sided 10, an elite wing-back this summer. And then, okay, yeah, you're going to be going into next season saying, is Onana good enough to be our goalkeeper? You're going to be going into next season saying, we really need a midfielder to play next to Ugarte. You're going to be going into next season saying, Martinez is still injured. Where's our left-sided centre-back? We knew Luke Shaw was never going to be good enough. But you've got 3 players there that immediately come into this team, start and elevate it to the next level. And I'd rather that than have 5 players that it's like you're hoping. You're hoping they're going to be good enough, but are they actually going to be? And is it going to pay off? Or are we going to be sat here in a year's time saying we probably need to go for them positions again? It's like how year after year after year we need a striker. Have we ever been through a summer in the last 5 to 6 years where we haven't said United need to go for a striker? It's every year. We need to make sure we don't do that. So the striker we get in this year, this time next year, they are killing it and you don't need to go for it again. If you get in Cunha, and I'm just using him as an example, it could be somebody else, and Mbeumo we're going to talk about in a second, you would like to think that is going to work. It's going to pay off. He's a Premier League proven player that looks very, very good. You're not going to need to go for that position again. That's what United need to do. We need to make sure, okay, yeah, we've got multiple positions we need to go and get, but get players that are at the high enough quality where you're not going to have to plug that hole again in 6 months to 12 months' time. Josiah, I've done that one. Thank you everyone for your super chat. Shahin says, but we still get top players like De Ligt and Ugarte. Bonk Dodge says, no striker is salvaging goals. We need protests. Thank you everyone for your super chats. Next point of call. So I was talking about Cunha then. I would love him to be a left-sided 10. There's been some links to Cunha that we've covered in the last couple of weeks, but we've now been linked to Mbeumo as well. So it's coming in from the same article from The Athletic that Manchester United have been scouting Bryan Mbeumo. Their most recent time being for Brentford's game against Tottenham Hotspur earlier this month. Brentford would look for a club record sale. Now let me just start on this and say, Mbeumo would be an absolutely brilliant signing for Manchester United. He is exactly what we need. Premier League proven, which we've not got enough of in the past. We have not shopped in the Premier League enough. You are getting someone in who has the athletic capability to cope with the demands of the Premier League. He's physical. He's a warrior. He is an absolute grafter, and we know he's technically good as well. He's fantastic. I actually think he's gone under the radar for a couple of years now. I think Tony outshined him at Brentford, and he didn't really get the plaudits he deserves. Now Tony's left, he's getting the plaudits. I remember people used to say, Mbeumo would say have the same hype as Elise if he had, a hairline and he wasn't bald. And I did genuinely believe that at the time. And Mbeumo's been good for quite a few years now. And if you look at his age as well, let me just get it correct on Mbeumo. Where is he? He is still only 25 years old. So, great age. Perfect age to come into Manchester United. He scores goals in the Premier League. He's a workhorse. He's physical. And I think he could play multiple positions in Ruben Amorim's system, actually. I think he could play as a right-sided 10. I think he could play as a striker if needs be. And I think he could also play as an attacking right wing-back. So Mbeumo is definitely someone to watch. The only thing about this story to me that, again, I start questioning in my head is, first of all, I'm pretty sure we're like 90% done a deal for Kenda in the summer. So you're going to have Amad and Kenda on that right side. And Mbeumo is a right-sided player. Like, surely he's going to want one of them positions, either the right-sided 10 or the right wing-back. I would ideally say the right-sided 10. So I don't see how that works if you've got Amad and Kenda. And also Brentford are looking for a record sale for their club. Manchester United don't really have much money. So, again, are we really going to be giving Brentford a record sale when we don't have much money to spend? I don't know how that adds up. But the actual player itself, top quality. And it's exactly the sort of player we should be going for. Get your comments in down below on, would you bring Mbeumo to the club? Would he be somebody that you would go for? I'd be interested to hear what you guys think on that. Maybe we could run a poll on it as well. Have we got a poll running on Liam Delap? Did we end up running that poll? Because I can't see it in the chat. 73% of you say no to Liam Delap. Wow. I'd be interested to see, just quickly now, get a yes or no in the chat while I'm actually looking at it. Do you think Liam Delap is an upgrade on what we already have? Do you think Liam Delap is an upgrade on what Manchester United currently have of your striking options? And I keep seeing no. I'm telling you, he's better than what we have. He is absolutely better than what we have. Genuinely. Is he the end goal right now? I get it. I get why people would say no on that. But he's better than what we have. He's better than Højlund and Xerxes. But should we be just aiming for better than Højlund or Xerxes? We need to be aiming for the top. I kind of get that question. Let's run a poll. Should Manchester United go for Mbeumo in the summer? Would you be happy with that transfer? Like I said, the player's quality, I just don't see why United would be spending a record fee on him if the plan is to have Amad and Kenda on that right-hand side, because he is a right-sided player. Next little bit of news that I wanted to bring in was to do with Lisandro Martinez. And this is coming from Mike Keegan. So, breaking, Lisandro Martinez has undergone surgery to repair his torn anterior cruciate ligament. The initial signs are that the surgery was successful. Recovery periods can range anywhere between 6 months and a year. I'm going to be honest, guys. I think this time next year, Lisandro Martinez won't have kicked a ball for Manchester United still. Because he's had a serious injury before, they're going to be extra careful in his recovery. I feel for Lisandro Martinez massively because I know he lives and breathes football. I know he's got a top mentality and I know he just wants to win and play football. I know that. He's a very senior player in that dressing room that is one of the leaders. But unfortunately, his body has suffered some really nasty injuries. And I genuinely do wonder if he's got a future at Manchester United. And I know he had his little tiff with Paul Scholes. I mean, you can have your opinions on whether you think he's a good enough player or not. But I'm taking that out of the equation purely down to injury. He's not someone that Manchester United can rely on. He's probably going to be out for a year. Then when he comes back, how long is it going to take him to get up to speed again? He's already had long periods out at his time at Manchester United with injury. He might just be incredibly unlucky to have, more than one serious injury in his first contract at the club at Manchester United, or the way he plays football might make him a bit more susceptible to injuries, with that aggression that he has and the way that he runs and the way he dives into stuff. I don't know. We love him. He's a butcher. I like to see that passion in a player, but the injuries are a serious concern, and we are going to have to eventually go and get a left-footed centre-back. We are. I don't think he's necessarily got a future at Manchester United in the long term, which is sad because I want him to. And Amorim clearly really liked him. He used to play him every game, even at the start when he was a little bit iffy. he wasn't playing his best football, but he really was one of the most improved players under Amorim. I thought he was really getting to grasp with the system. I thought he was really starting to pick up steam, starting to look good as that left-sided centre-back, starting to improve. And I was really excited about him, but I'm happy the surgery's gone well. I just don't see him ever being someone we can rely upon. And I know he's only 27, and I want him to get well soon, and I want him to come back stronger. But we need to buy a left-footed centre-back. And I don't think when he does return and he fulfills his contract at Manchester United, United would be looking to maybe give him a new one because of the serious injuries that he's had at the club. Like, I get we've got players now that can cover. You know, you've got Mazraoui, you've got Yoro, and that's the reason why these players are there. But it really is a big loss not having that left-footed centre-back that can play that role that's so needed in the Amorim system of that left footer bringing the ball out and driving it into the midfield. You do lose something when Martinez isn't there, and we need to reinvest in that. Is Aidan Heaven going to be the solution? I think Manchester United brought Aidan Heaven in because they knew about Lisandro Martinez's injury problems, and we needed to be ahead of the game on replacing him. However, I don't think they assumed that Lisandro Martinez was going to instantly get an injury that could leave him to be out for a year as soon as we signed Aidan Heaven. I think the plan was for him to be his understudy, you know, get used to Manchester United, adapt to Amorim's system, the way that we want to play, you know, have that time in first team training and eventually get his opportunity. However, the spotlight is going to go onto him now because Lisandro Martinez is out for a year. When Aidan Heaven will be ready, I don't know. I can't call it because I've not seen him. I'd need to see him in a Manchester United shirt first, but we've got cover there ahead of him for now. Will he get minutes this season? We don't even know that. I thought he was going to get signed into the academy. He's been signed into the first team. So let's see where we're at with Aidan Heaven. It's exciting, but we don't need to put too much pressure onto him. And for now, I think it's mainly going to be Yoro, Maguire and Mazraoui that is covering that position. Should United go for Mbeumo? Vote in the poll down below, yes or no. I'm going to vote yes. We've got a couple more super chats in. You've got Patrick Dorgu saying, bring Haaland and Van Dijk or else I leave. Well, it was nice knowing you. Andy Atherton says, here we go, Vardy to United. Ha ha ha, never going to happen. So Vardy over Obi. Absolute ridiculous BS from the press. I don't think it is BS, you know. I know we get linked to these sort of stories every year, and I don't actually think we will sign Jamie Vardy. But I do think there is truth. I think this is where I think this story lies, to kind of come on your super chat. I don't think you're right or wrong, really. I think it's somewhere in the middle. I don't think necessarily it's been pushed out from the club that they're going to sign Jamie Vardy in the summer. I don't think that's the case, and I don't think we will sign Jamie Vardy. But I think the message is, and this is what Laurie Whitwell and The Athletic are reporting, we're going to be looking at free transfers and cheap options because we don't have much money. We are broke. We are on the breadline. Like, we are not going to be able to spend a massive amount. We already owe 300+ million in transfers. There is a very large chance that we won't get European football. I pray to God we do, and I will be there cheering from the rooftops if we win the Europa League, and I'm there to see it, and we get Champions League football, not just for the trophy for Champions League football, but that's massive when it comes to money. Man United are broke, so I think what's being pushed out there is we are going for cheaper options. We are looking at younger, cheap options that we can get in that are cheap on the wage bill, and we're looking at free transfers. And I think put two and two together, you know, looking to write an article, you're going to look at who are cheaper options that Manchester United have previously scouted. We've scouted Calvert-Lewin quite a bit in the past. I don't think he's anywhere near good enough for United, but we have. Jamie Vardy is going to be on a free. Maybe it's something we've potentially explored for a split moment in the past. So that's what gets brought into the article. I think the main thing to take away from it is that Manchester United are not going to have the money that we thought. We think £60 million for Gyökeres, a perfectly tailored striker for Amorim's system, that is bagging goals left, right and centre in Europe, is too much money because he's 27. Doesn't make sense. We've not got much money to spend. So the free transfer market and players that you're going to be able to get at a cheaper price are going to be explored. I think that's what it is. Sahaj Shetty says, is it fair on Sir Jim to assume total risk against a quarter of the equity? He's probably trying to stabilise the finances before an eventual sale. The layoffs were delayed and depleted our club. Yeah, I get you. You know, you can't expect the world when someone only owns 25%. But then again, we knew what the Glazers were. The Glazers were on the brink. That's why the club asked for investment. It asked for it was entertaining offers for a sale. Like, you knew what you were walking into. Like, Sir Jim Ratcliffe and Ineos knew exactly what they were walking into coming into Manchester United. So you've walked into it and you've chosen to go down this path. Don't blame the Manchester United fans and supporters for expecting answers. Like, we've got to do better than what we're doing right now. In terms of the free transfer market for strikers as well, something to think about is Jonathan David. God, bringing that name up again. However, I don't think we will go for him. I mean, we've had ample opportunity to go for Jonathan David and we just never, ever had. That's a name that's been going for years upon years now. I've watched him for Canada, wasn't too impressed. Don't know what it is, but he's just not somebody that that many clubs have fancied, because his name has been pushed out there time and time again and nobody's gone for it. So he'll probably end up somewhere. Where he ends up, who knows. I seen today, and this as well, this is the difference as well, everyone. I saw, let me see if I can get it up so I can get the exact wording up on it. I don't think I'll be able to, but this is what I saw earlier today, and it was a report coming out surrounding Arsenal, and it was something along the lines of, although Kai Havertz being out for Arsenal is a massive blow in terms of striking options till the end of the season, Arsenal have focused on signing a huge number 9 in the summer to solve their striking issues. The names that are currently being looked at are Watkins and Isak. And I just thought to myself, a couple of years ago, maybe more than a couple now, but not long ago, I thought, you know, Arsenal would never be ahead of Manchester United. They would never have more pull than Manchester United. But that's happened. Like, do you remember when Arteta came into this club and Arsenal were on the floor? They had Aubameyang and Ozil at the time, and they were both good players for them, but they were on the floor. Their culture was poor, and you know, they were losing games left, right and centre. And I just thought to myself, you know, I know United, at the time, we were nowhere near where we thought we should be in terms of standards. We'd probably bite your hand off to be where we were then now. Like, 6th place used to be unthinkable. You know, it'd be good to get into the top half of the table now. So, like, even when we came second with Ollie, we were, like, criticising it massively because we were so far off City in points. And I used to think to myself, there's no way Arsenal will be ahead of us. We're now in a situation where Arsenal have got a manager in. They have had an ownership that has had a clear plan and direction. They have backed their manager. They have supported their manager. They have created a good footballing structure. And yes, we can banter them about not winning trophies, because obviously that is hilarious and we can always have that under our belts. And they need to start winning trophies. That's something that they're lacking. But that steadily over time, they have improved, and they've got into a position where they have a good base. They've got a good base. They still need to add squad depth, 100%, and they are nowhere near the finished article. But they have got to the point where they have a good base of players. They have a set of players that knows what the manager wants, and they are competing on a year in, year out basis. Manchester United have, from that position, gone down and down and down, and we're in a situation now where Arsenal is a much more attractive prospect to go to than Manchester United, and that is sad. Like, that is super sad. Like, Arsenal are looking at Isak and Watkins in the summer, and Manchester United are being linked to Calvert-Lewin and Vardy, and then, no disrespect, but Liam Delap, who I actually think has the potential to be a top quality player, but it is again a risk. Like, Manchester United should be the club going getting a Watkins or an Isak, but we're nowhere near it. We'd never be able to get them in a million years in the summer, and it's sad to see what we've become and where we are. And I feel like whereas Arsenal have gone one way through good ownership and good structure and sticking with a plan and philosophy, we've gone the other way, and we've just gone on this cycle. and we have ended up in the pits. And it just feels like at the moment, the news that's coming out, I keep hoping to see something that gives me something to hold on to, like there is light at the end of the tunnel. But we're in a situation where Manchester United fans are praying and hoping that Chido Obi is going to be the guy. 17 years old, doing fantastic in the academy, absolutely fantastic. And I really do think he's got potential. And I absolutely agree with you guys and a lot of people to say that I think Amorim should give him some minutes from now until the end of the season. He's knocking on the door. You can't ignore him any longer. He's a physical unit at his age. But he should nowhere near be the conversation of being the answer for Manchester United right now. But he is because of the situation that we're in. But yeah, this is what we're at. DSR has just said in the chat, how about Beto? Probably score more goals than what we've currently got. I nearly went for him in FPL. Gutted, absolutely gutted. I went Gakpo instead of Beto, but I should have gone Beto. Dr. Peter says, need to bring Rashford and Sancho back. No, let's not even talk about that right now. Let's hope Rashford does well at Aston Villa. That's all I want. And Sancho, you could not pay me to bring him back to this football club. Genuinely couldn't pay me. For me, you know, principles and attitude comes first. And both of them with Sancho wasn't right, in my opinion. Edmund says, Beth, let's stop making so much noise about a striker, but rather let's get the team playing, attacking football, creating chances, and the goals will come. You need both, and Manchester United are lacking both. We're lacking a lot. I know this show has been quite doom and gloom, but we've got to be... I needed somewhere to kind of get my frustrations out and bounce off you guys about the future of this football club, because it is quite bleak right now and it is quite sad. But I will leave you on a positive note, and the positive note is things can change very quickly in football. Like I said, Arsenal are in the pits, and they were in the pits. They are now competing, and they are very close to... And I'm not just talking about getting an FA Cup or, you know, a Carabao Cup, which they should have picked up along the way, and they need to start winning trophies. But they are very close to lifting a Premier League and competing in the Champions League. They have built and built and built. Amorim has his hands tied behind his back, and he is genuinely, you know, got a humongous task on his hands. And you better hope, you know, that he, you know, he's the best manager in the world, like, to be able to turn this around the way it's looking. But there is... what I'm trying to say is things can change very quickly in football. And if we do the right things, we invest into the right talents, we act appropriately in the transfer windows, we get the majority of our transfers right, and with the little funds we have, we do invest it in the right players and the right talents, and we build around Ruben Amorim, we back this manager and allow him to tell the club where he wants to go and why, and they build that foundation together. You can build with a manager. And, you know, in a few years' time, we could be looking in a much more positive situation, and things are looking a lot better. So the one thing that is a positive, and the one thing that keeps me going right now, is I actually do think we have the right manager in, despite how bad performances and results have been at the moment. I think Amorim, given the time and given the backing, can make something of this football club and this team. And that's the thing that keeps spurring me on. So hopefully the footballing hierarchy do back him. He is used to working on a smaller budget as well. Like, he didn't have a big budget at Sporting Lisbon. He came into Sporting when there were players on high wages, and they'd spent on certain players, and he got rid of them, and he stripped the club from top to bottom, and he ended up getting Sporting back to the top of Portuguese football. It's a very different kettle of fish, English football and Manchester United. It is on a bigger scale, but I do think he's got it in him to make this club what it should be. I can feel it in him. So hopefully he gets given the tools. It just might take longer than what we initially thought. So ending on a positive note, we've got the right guy. Can he be provided with the right tools is what I am still questioning. Hopefully he will be. But look, everyone, thank you for joining me. Thank you for all the super chats. Thank you for all the comments. Like the video on your way out. Comment down below, what strikers should Manchester United go for? How should we attack the transfer window? Let me know all your thoughts. Thank you for watching, everyone. Thank you for watching, everyone. Thank you for watching. Have a lovely evening, and I will see you on the next one.